Hey, happy day. So I'm finding that the energies today are a lot about releasing, uh, and so it's there's a lot of sadness and regret and remorse and perhaps shame, and yes, we are perhaps facing those aspects of being dishonorable and disrespectful to ourselves in how we've been conducting our lives. And, so if you were coming from a victim mode, you would say something like, oh, I feel so used. Well, um, so let me bring in the bad guys. I know a few fuckers out there who I hear so many really unpleasant stories about them, about how they fuck people over. And I live in an area where I feel it's very superficial and there's a lot of ego. And because of the patriarchal, generational, Saturnic energies, Satanistic, which are very reptilian, I find those quite prominent in this area, and there's an awful lot of take and very little give, and there's a lot of ego, a lot of narcissism. In fact, my mom used to refer to the energy as gimme pigs. When people are gimme, 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 and they're quite piggish in and boorish in their attainment of whatever it is they want. And the other thing that comes to mind is Nemo, the seagulls that go, mine, mine, mine. So that's how I find this area. As long as these individuals feel like they're winning and feel safe and secure, which they never do because they don't even feel that within themselves, they need to fill their lives with a lot of possession and a lot of muchness to be their stepping stones, their foundations. But the problem with that is it's all fine and well to fuck people over to get ahead. However, when crises happen, such as natural disasters that we've experienced, the playing fields are all leveled. So perhaps it's time for people to start giving more. And, unlike the cosmic energy system, doesn't work the same way that our capitalistic system works. In fact, I've been out of the debt system for so long, and I recently had to uh, step back into that river in order to obtain a vehicle and get a credit his reference. The fact that I can live in my means is apparently meaningless. I have to go through a long, complicated route and pay lots of fees and extra costs in order to prove that. So it's kind of defunct. The whole system is fucked up. But anyway, uh, I just find that we think that the cosmic energy dharma and karma system works like that, the positive and negative, that we can just, it's endless, that there is a minus. No, there isn't. If you take now what is not yours to take, meaning you haven't actually put the goodwill back in, and we'll end off with that word at the end when I give you a quote. But if you have not put in the goodwill and the good credits and actually got a good credit record in your good energy and you've earned interest there, uh, you are in debt, meaning you are constantly in a karmic state. You, in order to get into a dharmic state, which means you actually have money in the bank, you have savings, you have pensions, everything is actually safe and secure. So even if your house was taken away, even if your car was taken away, if everything was taken away, uh, would you be able to stand on your own 2 feet? Would you be able to feed yourself? Would you be able to get around? I have learned that I can do this and that I don't need all these possessions that possess me. In fact, not having them allows me a lot more freedom to move. Although sometimes I do feel very stuck because of when you live in an area or a space where there is a lot of fuckery and you do not become a fucker in the face of fuckery, then you find that you lose a lot, which means it's not a loss, it just means that you have to farm that much more diversely, and that much more you have to put in a few more haymaking hours. So I don't feel like anything's ever taken from me personally. I don't ever feel used or abused, because I'm signing up for whatever situation I'm allowing or giving myself exposure to, and whatever I choose to engage in, I'm having a conscious experience, meaning what do I have to learn from this, even when it's not going my way? Why is that the case? Am I supposed to let it go? Is this not for me? Have I explored all my options? Is there a better way? Anyway, that's a very long intro, so I'm going to get into the card. So the first card, there were 3 10s. 10 of Swords, 10, the Wheel, Major Arcana, and 10, Artistry, the Love suit. Love is patient, love is kind. And I have not experienced a lot of that. And it's so curious that there are so many religious institutions in my area, barring one that caters to the Jewish folk in my area and the Muslim folk. So there's no shul and there's no mosque. However, there are about 7, I don't know, even maybe 10 churches and a Jehovah's Witness hall, and there's even a satanic sect that operates undercover, because when they wanted to bring their practice to light, all those other religious organizations and all the religious followers, the predominant religion of this area, pretty much shut them down, which I think is quite silly. It's being like the ostrich sticking your head in the sand. You want to justify your hate and your intolerance for other things by saying it's that, but you don't even allow it to come to light and show itself for what it is. So that to me is very curious. I have found it very difficult to live in this area. I have found it incredibly unchristian. Um, I have found people to be sit on a pedestal and profess what they are, and but yet their actions have left a lot to be desired, and it's very incestuous. It feels a lot like Sodom and Gomorrah. So 10 of Swords. So swords again, we talked. So you see, yesterday they came up, and we came up with what in what I've just done is I used words in an evil way with a reptilian serpent-like energy, which we understand to be a satanic and dark force, and you can see it kind of above. That's exactly it. What's hanging over our heads, that's heavy, and we are stopping and busy reviewing the landscape, as I said yesterday, which seems to be fall into the current theme. Reviewing the landscape with new eyes and finding our center, our compass point center, and the higher self, the lower self, the old self, the new self. Where are we in that? Finding our center and then choosing which way to move from there. Which, yes, direction do we still need to explore? Unexplored aspects. Or perhaps we want to go back to well trodden and familiar places. Perhaps there's a call to home. Where is home? And home is also what you do, what you spend your time doing. Do you love what you do? And can you love who you are? And you can only truly love who and what you are if you are doing what you love, if you are spending time with people who reflect back to you that you are. So, you know, uh, what are your desires, passions, dreams, hopes, and wishes? What if love was a key to everything, and the only key to everything, and we could stop fumbling around with trying to unlock doors with other keys when the doors are actually unlocked, because they are portals of love, and portals of love don't need a key. They are a vortex of energy, and all you have to do is get into that vibrational state. So when I was awake at my usual witching hours this morning, about midnight, I happened to be thinking about energy and about how we, with our words, uh, I've talked about how it creates a frequency, our tone, um, the volume, the pace. It's all an energy that we bring to words, which is just an magnified, amplified version of our thoughts. So they are then the spelling that we are using to magic. And however, like I said, swords and words can be swords, and we can cut through the bullshit. However, we can also, it's a double-edged sword. We can both love and cause pain at the same time. It's all about the receiver's state of vibrational energy. So, are we able to match each other? Are we putting out the correct vibration? And I started something about light, the ultraviolet. That's what it was. I want to work with ultraviolet light in my energy healing a lot more. And the video is 1111, which is I'm seeing a lot of 11, a lot of ones, which is a magical portal. It is that vortex of love. And I'm going to be working with the violet flame energy a lot more when it comes to healing, because the violet flame is the flame that burns at the hottest heat. And like the light spectrum, we can't see, and the sound spectrum, we can't always see that vibration or hear that vibration, but just because we are limited in our ability that animals have that we don't have as other animals species, we have higher reckoning and consciousness that we are able to work from, not just the physical. They are operating on a very natural sixth sense. However, we have to integrate that. We have to bring, we have more dimensions we're working with that we need to integrate. We're not quite that simple, if only it were. Um, so, getting back on track, the animals and vibrations, being able to not see all the light spectrums, but violet flame is burns the hottest and the brightest. And when we're coming to the aspect of the phoenix rising from the flame, surely if we work with the hottest flame, we can in one foul swoop burn everything and clear it all out. So that's kind of the vibe I have at the moment. It's, instead of taking the plaster off a little bit, it's time to rip that band-aid off. It really is. And have a look and see. You might be surprised. You might have healed much better than you expected. And in fact, I have a friend who broke her shoulder, and it's been a very traumatic journey on many levels, but and a lot of suffering. So I have a deep compassion for the journey this friend has been on. However, what was beautiful is she took self-corrective action and really grabbed the bull by the horns, and in the process, while she was doing all her detoxing on a mental, emotional and spiritual level, her body, so her boils burst and all the pus came out, and it's healed so much better. So it's like that, you know, really having a look at and really lancing those boils and letting the pus come out and acknowledging all that mucky pus, so that our wounds can truly heal. And perhaps we will feel better about life and be able to tackle things a lot more energetically without feeling dysfunctional, disabled, inhibited, incapacitated. So the next card that came out was the 10, the wheel. So there you see your compass points again. And I had a cup of coffee this morning on the beach, and I don't add the sugar, but there's this jar of sugar, and so I lucky packet it because it's got quotes on the back. And today's quote was by, well, they're all for local, Nelson Mandela, a Nelson Mandela quote that says, "Currents of goodwill will surge forward continually from all points of the compass, infusing confidence and hope." And there's your infinity symbol. So, I'm sorry, those are dice. There's a 4 and a 6. So, 4 stability and 4s have been coming up a lot. And 6 is about what are we incubating and getting ready to birth. It's the pregnant belly of conception and in wombing. That seems, again, the themes coming up, and how we spiraled up, and finding balance between the light and the dark aspects of our being, and which is the compass points again. So, love, I want to say, people are not kind and caring naturally. They are quite reserved with uh, being loving. They don't want to have their heart hurt. Well, you can't. Love doesn't hurt, it's not painful. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous nor boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. And that's 1 Corinthians 13. And it's come up repeatedly. It's one of the two, other than the cast thy bread, which is dharma, means do good, leave things in a better state than you found them. Wherever you have the opportunity to do good, you really ought to. These are opportunities of, if you could imagine, what if that beggar in the street that actually approached you and looked you in the eye for a moment and asked you for 5 rand, and you dismissed them? What if that was your moment of meeting God and the opportunity to do God's work and do goodwill, but yet you turn down the opportunity because it didn't suit you, because you go to church and you donate money to your church? Yeah, that's somebody else controlling your goodwill rather than you controlling your own goodwill. So 10 talks about transformation. You're starting to experiment with the changes you have made in your life, consciously making choices to shape your life. You see life, people, and situations with new eyes. You change the way you respond to situations and allow new possibilities to emerge. You are willingly stretching yourself to ensure personal growth and witness a magical transformation. And the love suit came up yesterday, and I guess it bears repeating, since we are in a state of grace, of loving forgiveness and acceptance, and through that it is self-sourcing, and love doesn't take away, it adds always. So for example, when you do good, you actually feel good from doing good, and what happens as a kind of unconditional benefit is that it somehow finds you when you need it most. So the more you put out and do good, the more you can expect blessings to happen on your way, as I do. I just get really frustrated with being surrounded by a lot of taking and constantly having to, it's like being catching a good wave and then being dumped. I'm tired of being dumped, and I need people to step up into a more Christos state of being, operating from love. Don't think about what you have to gain out of everything, but rather what can you add to everything, and not what do you have to get out of it. And this really makes my heart very sad that people don't get that, and that sense of Ubuntu and that sense of community. It's a real frustration for me that we allow people to continue to suffer, especially when we have so much. And I want to give an example of something, of a reality. So I don't have a car and I walk everywhere. And in my area, again, it's a very privileged area, very pseudo-riche area, meaning people don't actually have as much money as they think they do. The bank owns everything, but they want everyone to think they own it. So, okay, cool. As long as, you're fooling yourself. I'm not sure the rest of us are actually, but you're only fooling the people you attract around you who are buying and trying to sell the same bullshit. Anyway, it is what it is, and I thank those people for actually taking on the dark contracts. I find following the light path a lot. It's hard too. It has its downs, but like anything, but the highs are high, and what I do is very fulfilling for the most part. I really am a happy little fucker, and I really do feel a tremendous amount of love and compassion and empathy. But we live in quite a cruel world, so when you go out there and live with an open heart, there are a lot of daggers, but it doesn't mean that you will fall. I'm self-healing, so, and I have a lot of bandages and magic salve, so I know how to tend to my wounds, and I will continue to live with an open heart, and I will continue to believe in the best of people, no matter how many times they show me how shitty they are and how fucked up and what fuckers they are and how narcissistic. And it's okay. It's that has nothing to do with me. The only thing it has to do with me is that I have to remain in loving a loving state. And again, that is no reflection on me. That is a reflection on the others and their lack of integrity, dishonesty, infidelity, pretty much all the aspects and expressions of a sinful nature. So it's, I'd say, rewarding to experience that in order to be able to, we can't compare, but what I can do is say, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that bitch. I don't want to be that fucker. I don't want to have people speak about me behind my back in that way, because people will, because they're always going to perceive you the way they want to or the way they do. We all perceive others from where we're at and who we are, and not actually anything about them. But it is the problem with people talking about people, and I've heard them do it in their own bad mouth someone in as a guest in that person's house. Bad form, very bad form. So I feel like if we, yeah, it's a form of defamation and character defamation, and it shouldn't be done. And it is, and it just is the way life is. And it's the same way we talk about things that we shouldn't, and there are things we should be talking about. We should be talking about how much money we earn. We should be talking about politics, religion, and money. And the only reason we're told not to is because it's another form of separation. And if we talked about those things more, we would be able to find a resolution, a resolution to being able to all getting along a whole lot better. But it takes receptivity in the form of being willing to give, being receptive to being able to give up what you have instead of trying to retain it and hold on to it. That leads to stagnation, and eventually what will happen is it will get lost. You will lose it in order to learn how much you have. And I find that the more people have, the less grateful they are, and the more they, certainly in this area, the more lack of compassion there is for those who have so little. And the example that I wanted to give is many people in my area have domestics, and those domestics are pedestrians like me, and we rarely have safe pavements to walk on. And where we walk, when we don't have pavements to walk on and we have to walk in the yellow lane, the road is often very badly degraded, meaning it's unstable, so we're more likely to trip and fall. We're often walking in very hot conditions or wet rainy conditions, and yet what I find is people in cars who have aircon, who are getting around a lot faster, whose lives happen a lot faster. When you don't have a car, everything takes much longer. You have to carry everything you need with you, so you often have more baggage. And then people in cars want to go. They won't stop and let you go, even though you're exposed to all the elements and carrying weight, and they have wheels to ferry them around, they still bully you off the road. I nearly got knocked over the other day by a very fancy car that didn't even have a license plate on. I find people incredibly rude. They never offer help. Would you like a lift even when it's raining? Who wants to fucking walk in the rain? Are you stupid? Get real. And maybe someone you see is walking, but perhaps you could offer a lift. Maybe they're walking because they have no other choice. I just find people so inconsiderate. Anyway, it's on me. It's on me. I ask for too much, and I need to lovingly accept and forgive that not everybody is as self-sacrificing, and they are selfish because they're afraid of losing the everything they have. So I'm grateful that all my needs are met, even though I have more than I need, but I have exactly what I need, and for that I'm very grateful. So the thing with giving love and energy is that it works in a torus, sacred geometric manner, in that love, your heart is here, it is the cross. Your higher self and your lower self meet through your heart point. And green, by the way, when it comes to fire and the color, the light spectrum of fires, flames, and the heat that they give off, which is the ultraviolet, the highest. Green doesn't exist unless there's a chemical being burnt. Green is not a color, which is beautiful when it comes to understanding that all your chakras are resonating at a certain frequency. The heart, though, is, your human heart, your biological heart, has its own pacemaker. So we are able to use the center point of our being to assimilate all the information from without and within, from the past and the present, in order to be whole and wholehearted and be within the center. And when we are that, what we're able to do is create that vortex of energy going in and around. So we put it out, we give, and it goes out and it goes out and it goes out, and then it comes back in through our rooting. How rooted are we into the earth? How strong is our base chakra vibrating at? And the violet, by the way, would be your crown chakra. So I will be doing a lot of work on crown chakra, because it seems like there are too many stuck in the below heart space and unable to integrate the higher self and the lower self, and certainly channel those carnal lower energies up and connect them to a higher divine source. And I'm not talking about the God without, I'm talking about the God within, that whose castle and throne resides in your heart. And there's a beautiful meditation that takes one there, and I'll share it in the blurb below. And this is a hella long video now, but I just love is limitless, it's unconditional. And we were told, we believed, we tried, we failed, and now we need to find a new way. So namaste, in Lakesh, happy day. Who the fuck are you?